You are your most valuable investment. It may sound cliché, but it's one of the most difficult truths to realize because we live in a society that keeps telling us to invest in anything and everything except ourselves. We spend time, effort, and energy on relationships, work, material possessions, and even individuals who may not always recognize our value. But when it comes to our own development, we find ourselves afraid. We promise ourselves we'll begin later, when life is simpler, when things are settled, when we have more time. But this is the truth. If you don't begin to invest in yourself today, nothing else around you will ever really change. Investing in yourself doesn't equate to selfishness. It equates to self-awareness. It's about recognizing that the most significant project you'll ever be working on is you. It's deciding to put your peace, your development, and your welfare first, even when the world is telling you that something else is more important. Because when you make an investment in yourself, everything else in your life falls into place. You begin to attract more rewarding opportunities, more positive relationships, and a better sense of direction. Not because the world shifts, but because you do. Think about it. When you purchase a new car or phone, you treat it, you look after it, you upgrade it when necessary. When was the last time you upgraded yourself, though? Your mind, your habits, your beliefs. The reality is, you are the foundation of your life. Unless you grow everything on top of that foundation, your career, your relationships, your dreams will slowly start to feel static. That's why the strongest choice you can make is to dedicate yourself to becoming a better version of yourself. Day by day, little by little. Muniba Mazari's experience reminds us what it means to really invest in oneself. After her accident, she lost a lot of things: mobility, comfort, certainty, but never lost her desire to grow. She decided to rebuild her life inwardly, to invest in her heart, her art, and her voice. She converted pain into purpose by concentrating on what she could control: her attitude, her mindset, her faith in herself. That's the type of investment that transforms everything. Not money, not material things, but the willpower to stand up when life attempts to destroy you. When you invest in yourself, you learn to cherish time differently. You begin to spend it on things that enrich you rather than deplete you. You cease to pursue individuals who fail to acknowledge your worth because you have already acknowledged it within yourself. You cease to wait for others to acknowledge you because growth becomes a personal reward. That is when you start observing the magic of self-investment. It multiplies in ways you never anticipate. And investing in yourself does not always have to be grand gestures or pricey classes. Sometimes it's just doing something as easy as reading a book rather than mindlessly scrolling through your phone. Writing out your thoughts and feelings rather than keeping them bottled up inside. Taking a hike outside, or setting boundaries that safeguard your peace. It's rising earlier to set your day, taking care of your body, learning how to say no when something doesn't serve you. Every little act of self-care, every second of learning, every step towards discipline, it's all a deposit into your future. But to really invest in yourself, you need to believe that you're worth it. And that's where most people get hung up. They don't think they're worthy, that they're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. But you are, you've always been. The only distinction between individuals who expand and those who remain stagnant is the conviction that they deserve to expand. When you adopt that mindset, you will cease to accept less and will begin demanding more of yourself and of life. Keep this in mind. The state of your life will always be equal to the state of your beliefs about yourself. The more you invest in yourself, the more enriched your life is, not with money, but with confidence, wisdom, and inner peace. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for someone to push you. Start now. Read that book. Master that skill. Heal that wound. Nurture your body, your mind, your heart. Because when you invest in yourself, You're not merely transforming your current self, you're creating your future. At some point, you'll look back and see that all those hours spent studying, all that effort to expand, all that time you selected yourself, it was all enough. It accumulated the you that is resilient, whole, and unbreakable. And that's when you'll know the smartest investment you ever made was in yourself. Knowledge really is the most powerful investment you can invest in yourself. It's the one thing nobody can ever take from you. No loss, no failure, no situation can remove what you know and who you are because of it. When you begin investing in knowledge, you're not merely stuffing your head, you're broadening your horizons. You start looking at life, thinking about life, and doing things differently. Growth starts the day you decide to learn something new, and the mere decision can totally alter the trajectory of your life. The issue is, too many people do stop learning when they graduate from school. They believe that education stops with a degree, but in reality, education really starts when life begins to teach you. Each day presents you with lessons if you are open enough to pay attention. Whether in books, experience, conversations, or failures, wisdom is all around you. You need only be open enough to drink it in. And when you habituate yourself to learning as part of your daily routine, you begin to develop a sort of confidence that doesn't depend on someone else's say-so. You begin to trust yourself because you are growing every single day. Muniba Mazari repeatedly tells us that her accident didn't end her story. It marked the start of a new education. She had to learn it all over again: how to live, how to speak, how to smile in the midst of sorrow. She made her suffering her instructor. That is what knowledge does, to turn adversity into wisdom. The more you know, the less life can break you. Because once you know yourself, your purpose, and the world, you are unshakable. Learning isn't always about sitting with a book or sitting in a class. Sometimes the greatest lessons are learned through observing. Observe how individuals treat other people, the way they react to setbacks, the way they recover from failure. All contact contains a lesson if you're humble enough to learn it. Development starts when you begin to substitute judgment for curiosity, when you stop saying, "I know," and begin to say, "What can this teach me?" When you invest in knowledge, you also start to make better choices. You no longer react impulsively and respond intentionally. You no longer waste time on things that are not towards your goals because your consciousness expands. Knowledge provides clarity. It teaches you to distinguish what is important from what is not. It teaches you to look past confusion and make decisions that move you closer towards the life you desire. But the lovely thing is here. You learn. Not only do you grow for yourself, but you become light for others. You begin to inspire others around you, teach them what you know. Lift up the ones who haven't yet found their potential. That's what makes learning such a divine investment. It doesn't just transform your life. It sets in motion and transforms others as well. Muniba's resilience, her intelligence, her words, all are born out of the experiences she gained and lessons learned. Her knowledge was her strength, and now it inspires millions. Along the way, you'll find that the more you know, the more you realize how much you have yet to know. That's the glory of growth. It's never-ending nature, and that's what makes you humble, curious, and hungry for more. You no longer view failures as mistakes, but rather as lessons in disguise. Every test is a classroom, every moment a teacher. That's how wisdom is constructed, through a lifetime of awareness and receptivity. So make learning your daily routine. Read a few pages of an inspiring book. Listen to a person who is a change agent. Take time to reflect on your day and ask yourself, what did I learn today? Because every piece of knowledge you acquire adds another page to who you are growing into. It builds your character, sharpens your focus, and ignites your growth. The more you put into learning, the more capable, confident, and whole you become. Your mind gets clearer, your words stronger, your purpose clearer, And one day you'll see that knowledge didn't just alter your mind, it transformed your life. Because when you know better, you do better. And when you just keep growing, life just keeps opening up in ways beyond your wildest dreams. Success doesn't happen because of one massive moment. It's composed of the tiny, steady habits that you do every single day. Habits are the quiet builders of your future. They determine who you become long before you've even noticed it. You don't wake up successful overnight. You grow into success one routine at a time, one decision at a time, one step at a time. That's why it is so crucial to create habits that create you. Look at those who inspire you, Muniba Mazari, for instance, and you'll see one thing in common: discipline. It is not that they wake up every morning feeling inspired or having loads of energy. It is that they have conditioned themselves to get up even when they do not feel like it. Motivation is temporary. It's that initial spark that starts you off, but habits keep the flame burning. When you create habits that reinforce your mind, body, and spirit, you no longer need motivation. You need structure, consistency, and purpose. Creating good habits starts with small decisions. It's deciding to get out of bed when the alarm goes off rather than hitting the snooze button. It's deciding to read for 10 minutes rather than mindlessly scrolling on your phone. It's deciding to eat something healthy rather than something convenient. Each one of these little actions may feel like nothing in the moment, but they accumulate into something significant over time. That's how change occurs, not by making some grand gesture, but by taking consistent, deliberate steps every day. The niceness of habits is that they define you. Each time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, however small, you're saying to your mind, "I can rely on myself." That's how confidence builds, from repeated behavior, not outcomes. When you choose to become disciplined, you begin to master your life. You cease to be reactive and become intentional. You begin to stop waiting for the ideal time and begin to create it. That's where the magic begins, when your habits begin working for you rather than against you. Muniba Mazari's story is a testament to this reality. After her life-altering accident, she couldn't reconstruct her life in an instant. It was a gradual process, a daily progression. She formed habits of gratitude, resilience, and creativity. She learned to concentrate on what she could rather than what she couldn't. Each brushstroke, each speech, each smile was the product of the habits she developed in order to keep going. She did not wait for ideal circumstances. She made progress in less than perfect conditions. That is what habits do. They allow you the power to get bigger even in the midst of suffering. Habits are strong because they define your future quietly. You may not notice the fruits of your labor immediately, and that is all right. Growth tends to take place quietly before it becomes noticeable. It's like planting a seed. You don't uproot it daily to see if it's growing. You give it water, care for it, and have faith in the process. When you create good habits, you're planting the seeds of success. One day, you'll glance back and see that the everyday discipline that you have been cultivating was the building block of all that you've accomplished. And yes, it's hard. There will be times when you'll want to quit, when progress seems non-existent, when the ease of old habits beckons. But those are the days that count the most. For when you push past resistance, you build your willpower. When you remain consistent even when there are no apparent rewards, you condition your mind for growth, not for immediate reward. This is how winners are created, not through talent but through ceaseless persistence. So begin today. Create habits that benefit your highest self. Rise early, exercise, talk to yourself kindly, read something that inspires your soul, and spend time doing what enriches your life. Guard your routines because they guard your progress. Keep in mind, small habits create significant impact. Every time you opt for growth rather than comfort, you're creating a version of yourself that will appreciate it later. And then one day, when success hits you, because it will, you'll know it wasn't luck or timing. It was the small things you did when nobody was looking. It was your consistency, your patience, your habits. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you create, day by day, through the choices you make and the habits you live. Protecting your energy and your environment is one of the most powerful forms of self-investment you can make. It's not just about what you do, but also about what and who you allow into your life. Your environment, physical and emotional, sculpts your mindset, affects your thoughts, and dictates how far you'll go. To grow, you must build an environment in which you can grow. You won't bloom in one that sucks the light out of you. We don't realize how much energy influences us. The individuals we surround ourselves with, the conversations we have, the content we watch, all of it nourishes our spirit. If your group is always complaining, questioning, and gossiping, you'll begin to reflect that too. But if you're around others who motivate you, challenge you, and encourage you to do better, your own thinking will turn in amazing directions. You begin to think that more is possible, not because someone said so, but because you witness it lived out before your eyes. Muniba Mazari's journey beautifully reflects this truth. After her accident, she learned that protecting her energy wasn't optional, it was essential. She surrounded herself with positivity, creativity, and purpose. She learned to say no to negativity, no to pity, no to anything that pulled her away from her mission. That's how she transformed her pain into power. She chose an environment that reminded her of her strength, not her struggles. And that choice changed everything. Respecting your energy also involves establishing boundaries, even if it feels painful. You may love others and yet prioritize space when their presence undermines your calm. You may care intensely and still have the power to say no. You do not owe others constant availability of your energy. Your calm mind is too valuable to be offered in exchange for others' convenience. And occasionally, the most loving thing you can do is to back away and create some space. Because when you guard your peace, you guard your potential for growth. Your environment isn't solely about humans. It's about what you welcome into your day to day. The television shows that you watch, the social media you scroll, the words you say to yourself, they all play a role. Each piece of knowledge you learn either constructs you or deconstructs you. If you keep feeding yourself negativity, you will begin to feel heavy. But if you nourish your mind with positivity, motivation, and learning, you will begin feeling light, concentrated, and energized. You turn into what you consistently expose yourself to. Self-energy management is an act of respect towards self. It's self-declaration saying, I deserve to remain calm. I deserve to be inspired. I am worthy to live in peace. When you begin to screen your world through that reality, the world starts changing. You begin releasing things that are no longer serving you. Not because you're being arrogant, but because you're aware. You cease seeking approval and begin to appreciate being alone. You realize silence can heal, distance can empower, and peace is more valuable than attention. There will be times when shielding your energy feels isolating. Growth tends to happen alone, because change seldom occurs in the distraction. But within that solitary place, you'll experience clarity. You'll begin to listen to your own thoughts again. You'll remember what really matters to you. And when you emerge into the world again, you'll do so with renewed strength and purpose. Then, be deliberate about where you expend your energy. Be selective about who can touch it. Hang out with people who leave you feeling energized, not depleted. Surround yourself with beauty, light, and significance. Share words that fuel you. Read material that inspires you. Guard your space as if it were holy, because it is. Ultimately, your energy is your most valuable currency. Invest it well. Don't squander it on things that don't agree with your peace or your mission. The more you shield your energy, the more vibrant you become. And when your surroundings agree with your development, you'll see that everything, your concentration, your self-belief, your joy, starts to thrive. Because success doesn't necessarily result from hard work. It results from being in the right energy to make that work meaningful. Believing that you're worthy of expanding is where the true transformation starts. You can have the most plans, habits, and dreams possible, but if inside you don't feel you're worthy of an improved life, none of those things will ever have a chance to truly take hold. Self-investment begins not with time or money. It begins with belief. The belief that you are enough, worthy and capable, exactly as you are now, to build the life of your dreams. So many people hold themselves back, not because they don't have potential, but because they don't have self-worth. They say to themselves they're not ready, they're not talented enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. But the reality is, you will never be totally prepared. Growth isn't about waiting until you're perfect. It's about beginning where you are and having faith you'll learn as you go. The second you begin to believe in your value, the world starts reflecting that perception back to you. Muniba Mazari frequently states, "When you accept yourself the way you are, the world recognizes you." Her life is a testament to what can happen when you prefer self-trust to self-doubt. After her accident, she had no reason not to give up, to believe that the world was over. Yet she preferred to think that she still had a purpose. She chose to believe that her scars didn't define her. They refined her. That belief became her power. It gave her the courage to paint again, to speak again, to inspire millions. Her life changed the moment she decided she deserved to rebuild it. Believing in yourself doesn't mean arrogance or thinking you're better than others. It means recognizing your own worth and refusing to shrink just to make others comfortable. It means giving yourself permission to take up space, to chase your dreams, to fail and rise again. When you believe you're worthy of better, you stop settling for less. You stop tolerating situations and people that drain you. You stop apologizing for wanting more out of life. Because self-belief isn't selfish. It's the foundation of growth. The most gorgeous thing about believing in yourself is that it doesn't need the world's approval. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you are sufficient. You simply need to choose that you are enough. And once you do that, you begin to show up in a different way. You begin to walk with more confidence, talk with more clarity, and behave with more purpose. Doors that once seemed closed off start to open to you, because your energy begins to change from doubt to determination. But belief itself isn't sufficient. It must be supported by action. You demonstrate to yourself day after day that you hold your self-worth in belief by the decisions you make. When you rise early to work toward your objectives, that's belief. When you forgive yourself for errors and continue on, that's belief. When you decline invitations that no longer work according to your values, that's belief. Each action of self-respect confirms that you deserve the life you want. There will be times when your confidence wavers, when self-doubt tells you that you're not enough. And that's okay. Even the strongest of people doubt themselves from time to time. The thing is, not to let those thoughts rule you. Keep in mind, the voice inside your head that tells you that you can't is not reality. It's just fear protecting you from pain. Growth exists beyond pain. The more that you venture out, the softer that voice gets. Having faith in your value does everything differently. It does differently how you perceive challenges, how you react to criticism, how you take failure. Rather than interpreting failure as evidence that you can't, you begin to view it as steps toward being whom you need to be. You begin to get it that every obstacle was cultivating you for the strength you're currently accumulating. So, believe that you are entitled to grow. Believe that what is behind you does not determine what lies ahead. Believe that you deserve success, peace, and happiness, not one day, but today. Because when you trust yourself, you tap into a power that cannot be taken away from you. And that belief, soft, consistent, and powerful, becomes the cornerstone upon which your whole life changes. And one day you'll be able to look back and understand how far that simple faith has taken you. You'll know that each time you picked self-worth over fear, self-love over doubt, was a seed that blossomed into your strength. And that's when you'll realize believing in your growth wasn't the beginning of your journey, it was the journey.